Hello, friends, and welcome back to Beyond the Screen, the Family Connection podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Samantha Hayes, educator, parent, and founder of Beyond the Screen Families. And today we're talking about something that I have this affinity for, a pretty in-depth experience with it, and lots of knowledge built about that. But I'm not going to tell you what it is right off the bat, because why would I do that? Here's what I want you to think about. Have you ever wondered, am I doing enough? Or perhaps you're wondering, are screens hurting my child's confidence? Or maybe you wonder, how do I raise resilient kids in a world that feels overwhelming? Well, if you have thought those things, then this episode is for you. Because resilience doesn't come from avoiding difficulty. And confidence doesn't come from constant comfort. They're built slowly through real experiences that screens cannot replace. And for this episode, I want to give a huge nod to Jonathan Haddett and the Ancients generation. If you haven't read this, please, please, please go out and get yourself a copy and read it. It is such a great resource for parents in today's modern digital world. One of the things he talks about in here is the fact that trees, when they grow up in like a biosphere, there was a place, and I can't even remember right now where this happened, but trees were in there and they were all falling over and they couldn't figure out why. And then they finally realized that the reason the trees were falling over is because they didn't have the right root system happening. And they didn't have the right root system happening because there was no wind. Trees, in order to form strong root systems, need wind. They need the blowing. They need all of that stuff happening. They need the natural elements, the things that aren't comfortable. They need the difficulty to be able to thrive and survive. And you know what? Humans are the same way. Without trials, without failure, without trying something and falling flat on your bottom, you don't learn how to get back up and keep persisting. You don't learn how to try again, right? So we have to help our children have those experiences, something that we have started to strip away with the input of screens. But let's step back for a moment and let's talk about resilience and what resilience really is. Resilience is often misunderstood. It's not toughness. It's not pushing through at all costs. And it's definitely not independence before kids are ready. Real resilience, the real stuff, not the stuff on the outside, is the ability to try again after frustration. It's the ability to stay regulated when things don't go as planned. Because things don't go as planned, that's super frustrating, but being able to stay regulated and continue to move, that is resilience. It's the ability to trust in yourself and your ability to figure things out. Resilience is built through manageable challenges, not perfection. And here's the important part. Resilience is relational before it's individual. Our kids need the relational before it becomes an innate, independent, individual thing. Kids feel confident when they feel supported and capable. So let's think about how digital life quietly erodes at that confidence. Now, remember, I'm not advocating for a complete removal of screens. I'm advocating for balance. Screens don't destroy confidence, but they can quietly replace the experiences that build it. And I'm going to give you some examples. But digital environments offer instant success. You do something, you are rewarded. Game makers, app makers, They build the experiences for that instant success because it hits the dopamine receptors in your brain. And that keeps you wanting to come back for more. They remove the natural consequences and they limit our problem solving abilities. I'm going to give you a screen to screen example just to highlight the differences modern day screens with screens that probably came out 20, 30 years ago, right? And yes, I am that old. Let's think about the original Mario Brothers, for example. And I've seen this compared in other venues as well. The original Mario Brothers, you would play through, you had to get to an ending, a flag for your level to save. I don't know about you, but on every level, I could not make it to the flag every single time. There were many a times I would die and then have to come back and try and figure it out again. What did that mean I was doing? I was understanding what I did well so that I could replicate it. I was analyzing what I didn't do well so I could try to make it further. And then every time I would have to persist and keep going through those aspects again. What did I do well? What didn't I do well? How do I adapt and change, right? Trial and failure in the original games. Modern day games are very different because it autosaves so many times. You don't have to get to a certain point. You just have to pay just long enough. And it's not that long. So kids aren't even in the digital world are not having to go through the same trials and tribulations that we might have went through at one point in our lives. And now let's compare that to the real world. In the real world, first of all, if I die, I don't come back. And that's really super tragic, unlike gaming systems of any age. But you have to be able to say, okay, you do something, you get hurt. You really get hurt. You scrape your knee, you skin your elbow, whatever it is. And then you have to be willing to get back on that skateboard after you've fallen off. Get back on, figure out what you might have done wrong, and try it again, knowing you might hurt yourself again. When kids spend more time consuming all the stuff on screens than creating, their confidence weakens. That's what happens. Consuming equals a weaker confidence because they're not out there trying, testing their limits, and seeing what they can do. Not because screens are bad, but because confidence requires effort, uncertainty, and feedback from the real world. So those things we just talked about, knee scraping, figuring out, getting it back up, and trying it again. This is why screen balance matters more than screen rules. So what are the real building blocks of resilience? Let's talk about what actually builds resilient, confident kids. Number one, open-ended play. Play invites kids to try, fail, adapt, and try again. And if you've bought anything that we have, or you've looked at any of our products, you know this is the epicenter of what we are doing. We aren't creating worksheets and specific scenarios so that our kids can be successful. It's all about trying, adapting, and doing it again. And true play as it should be, requires that. Number two are small responsibilities. Small responsibilities that our kids have, chores, those kinds of things, bring needed self-trust. Even the other day, my daughter and I were in a very small store and the shelves were really low. And I said, I'm going to go into the next aisle. And her first inclination is she goes, but what if I'm not okay? And I said, you're going to be okay. When you're done, you can come find me in the next aisle. Now, I could see her the whole time, but we were separated by aisles and stuff. It was a small store. And when we got done, she said to me, that was so cool that I got to be in a totally different space than you. Can we do that again? That right there, small responsibility, major confidence boost. And we do it all the time. Maybe it's allowing like having our kids feed the dog or being responsible for making their bed every day. Those small things matter. Number 3, physical movement and sensory input. Regulation supports confidence. Okay. The more our bodies physically move, the more sensory inputs we can help give ourselves, the more confident we become, because we're also teaching our bodies how to regulate in those moments. And the more we can self-regulate and the more we have a parent sitting alongside helping us regulate, and we've talked about this in another episode, the more confident our kiddos become to be able to do that on their own. Number 4, time without constant stimulation. And you know, this is what I say is boredom is magic. That is where the magic happens, because boredom sparks creativity. It helps our kids understand that they are more than capable to figure out what happens next, to know and trust in themselves to be able to manage their own time. Boredom is a beautiful thing. And with screens constantly in use, we've gotten away from that idea that boredom is something that's actually necessary. It's so necessary. So the next time your kids say, I'm bored, let them be. Let them be and see what happens. Now, if you've listened, you know that oftentimes our kids just need a spark in order to get started. And boredom is super healthy. And then with the spark, I mean, that's why all of our items, our signature item is our curiosity prompt cards, because they offer just the spark, not how to do it, not trying to fill time, just a spark to get them started. And number 5 is supportive presence, not rescuing. Kids grow when we stay nearby, not when we fix. We have gotten into this idea so often that we need to fix the problem. Our kids run into a trial. They're not able to figure out how to build that next step in the Lego creation. Can you help me? And we come in and we fix it. But if we're nearby, I just did this with my daughter. She got some Lego kits this Christmas, and she was building some of them that had, you know, one was this like pet shop. So you build it so that you can play with it afterwards. And she was like, Mom, I need your help. And I was like, I don't think you do. I'm right here. I'm like, we were parallel doing things. And I was like, I want you to try it on your own. Every time she solved her own problem. I was nearby. She just needed to know that somebody else believed she could do it as well. Every single time she ended up building it. It was amazing. And you know what? Then she went on to the next one and she was more confident than she was with the first one. She didn't even ask me for help on the second one, even though I saw her struggle. Even though these moments don't need to be big, they just need to be consistent. Consistent, because consistency builds confidence. So where do screens fit in with all of this without the fear or the extremes happening, right? At Beyond the Screen Families, you know, we don't believe in eliminating screens. We believe in balance, intentional use, and real life experiences first. Screens should be only one part of childhood, not the foundation. And here we're talking all about creating the foundation so that you perhaps don't end up with an anxious generation kiddo, right? So that you have a kid that has the solid root system, the trials and tribulations don't knock them over. When kids have regular opportunities to explore, to build, to move, and to connect, screens naturally lose their grip, because real life experiences are far more rewarding than screens will be. Real life experiences and understanding how to persist before the dopamine receptors release and receive is far more rewarding, because it's confidence building, it's resilience building, than a screen with an instant hit. It may seem like the screen with that instant hit is going to take more, but it just leaves you wanting to come back for more. So that's exactly why we created any of our boxes. And I'm going to focus specifically on the play box today because we talked about open-ended play. The play box supports screen-free confidence building, open-ended exploration, and real-world problem solving. Each box is designed to invite challenge without pressure and curiosity without overwhelm. If you're in education, you know about the zone of proximal development. And if you don't, let me give you a very brief Cliff Note version. ZPD is what we call it because we're all about acronyms in education. The zone of proximal development is the zone where learning happens best. It's not too easy. It's not too hard. It's that in-between zone where there's challenge at the right time, pace, structure for your specific child. And that's what we've created with the Playbox. For kids from 2 to 7, and that seems like a wide age band, but we built the prompts just to spark so that kids can take it to their own level, and they naturally will. It's play-based. There aren't specific instructions. It's meant to really open up a world, spark curiosity, and let kids sit in that problem-solving position whenever you need it. You can find the link for the Playbox in our show notes. And before we wrap up, I'm excited to share what's coming up next. Our March Playbox theme is Bug Explorer. This theme is so cute, but it's all about curiosity, observation, and gentle challenges with real-world science disguised as play. Yes, one of the prompts has your kids going out to find real-life bugs to observe. Yes, there are movement prompts, getting your kid acting, thinking, like, what does a bug move like? How do I move my body in that way? And there are sensory prompts. And we're working on sensory components and things like pinch or grasp, and those kinds of skills. But not in a forced manner, in a way that is fun and playful without measurable outcomes, because we don't need them. Listen to last week's podcast. If you didn't, go listen to it. We talk all about that. Kids will explore insects, habitats, and the natural world. They'll build confidence, patience, and problem solving all along the way. It's the perfect example of how hands-on play supports resilient kids in a digital world. So I want to leave you with a reflection question. Where could your child benefit from a little more challenge with you nearby? Not fixing, but nearby support. Because resilience grows when kids feel capable and supported. Thanks for spending a little part of your day with me. Here's to creating more moments that stick. Bye, friends.